my mind, is drifting into September right now, as you can imagine, is probably the furthest thing from my mind, is taking a break, getting a rest, coming back together, putting the problem on the table, solving it together collectively as a group, resetting ourselves and bringing new energy and getting after it. And that's what we'll do. Thank you. Cheers.
Michael Voss, he diagnosed that it's time to dissect the way that the Blues are playing. No team confounds me more. They elude me. They confuse me.
This feels like we've been here before.
Yeah, right at the heart of it is where you started in March. Is there a flaw in the core of their being, the Lygon Street Butchers, that undermines everything else that they're trying to achieve?
It was round 1 or 2, very early in the season. They are still the worst kicking team in the competition today. So you start at that and you're still 18th. Everything you're trying to achieve in between gets compromised, Jared. So they have made some improvements in the way they can get the footy from one end to the other. They are getting good looks inside 50. What happens once they go inside 50 is the massive problem for this football club right now. These are the butcherings that we talk about. So you coach your socks off if you want, but if your players can't fundamentally fulfil the number one premise, if you can't kick in this competition, in this day and age, you ain't going anywhere, Jared. And they can't kick. And that's a broad, sweeping statement. 18th at round 1 or 2, they're 18th at round 11, and they're in the mire again for this reason. And then we'll extrapolate it out a bit, because when you go wider than this and you have a look at all of that, I don't care who you are, if you can't kick, you're just not going anywhere. So then you go, all right, well, the ball movement stuff has got better, and they're going, okay, I think they're at number 3 for getting the ball inside 50. So you go, okay, well, that's a good thing, because you got the 2 big pillars. What happens when you go in there? It's a disaster, Jared. It's a disaster when they go inside forward 50, and it reflects very similarly to what a team I brag for were doing for a long, long time, and that is playing predictable, boring, long inside 50. Charlie and Harry will sort it out. They're number 18 in the competition, Jared.
So this is where Melbourne were 8 weeks ago. The commonalities are striking.
It is. So you go back and have a look at it, and the first 5 matches. So from a Melbourne point of view, they could get the ball from one end to the other. But for scores per inside 50, they were, at that stage, my eyes are deceiving me, they were 18. The last 6 matches, they go D50 to inside 50 the same amount, they're 4th. This is what coaches must be able to do, otherwise the pressure comes. And we talk about Simon Gooden coaching his way out of the pressure. This is what we're talking about. Okay, the first 6 games or 5 matches, disaster. Change the way you play. Change your makeup. Don't forget, these numbers here, scores per inside 50, 4, is with Harry Petty and Aidan Johnson, a young man who's trying to... So they drop Van Rooyen. Change is good. Drop Van Rooyen. Drop Fritsch. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over. Change is good. So all of a sudden they go to number 4 with Aidan Johnson and Harry Petty. It's because the way they move the footy, 3rd fastest ball movement team over the last 6 weeks behind Gold Coast and Geelong. So change something.
So Carlton are exactly where they were at the start.
Don't have a sit here at round 1 saying you're the worst kicking team in the competition, you're predictable going inside 50, and now we sit here and go, you're still the worst kicking team in the competition, and you can't score when you go inside 50 with Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay inside 50. So this is where... And you can take over here because I can't get too heated. But now they sit there at the bye where Vossi says we've got to have a look at it. Well, yeah, have a look at it and say the way we're playing ain't modern footy. It's not doing it. Maybe having Charlie and Harry inside forward 50 just says we'll try and get everything else, and then we get to that end, we'll kick it to Charlie and Harry. That's not working. That's not working. So maybe they look at Charlie up high. Maybe they look at him as a winger. Maybe that's how... He's a bloke that can kick the footy inside forward 50. Yeah. But it's over to Graham right now, who's sitting back observing all of this, Jared, and these are all the discussions that are going to be had in the coming weeks.
So the challenge I find watching them is could they be better? Should they be better? Are they a whisker away or are they a mile away? The blunt force trauma footy that they have mastered is not the footy of today.
No, contest and clearance.
The inability to hit those kicks thwarts their efforts to be more than they want to be. So are they a team that can go on a run in the back part of the season, no, the body of work is now, if you measure it from Giants loss to Giants loss, there's 20 games. They're 6-14.
Yeah.
If you refine that to the finals teams in those 2 years, they're 1-11.
That's the most damning thing.
And
right
the
there.
average losing margin is 26 points. And that's a proper body of work.
So you
to
can't
assess
turn
there.
that around like that.
No, so this is the necessity for change. They're not going to recapture, if they're looking to recapture something, I don't think they are, but if they were, they're not going to recapture it. That's a long time. So what are they going to evolve into? And this is the most difficult challenge within season, but we have seen a team be able to do that over a 6-week stretch. And he needs to.
Yeah.
So the spectre of Graham Wright is very real. As he comes in as the chief executive, it's his job to set this club up for what comes next. He comes with that imprimatur from the board, and he gets his hands on it at the end of the season. But he's doing all his work now. They've got listed decisions to make, which were well illuminated by Jay Clark and David King there, he went into Collingwood, a team that was stifled by salary cap. He found a way, was really nimble. He didn't pull the whole thing apart. He was nimble with it and got his change. And he changed the coach. He wasn't afraid to do that where he saw the need. So I suspect in the back 12 matches of the season, Michael Voss is going to need to prove that he can change this profile, because what is there now is not going to work.
No, because if we're here in, so what was that, round 1 to round 11, if we're here at round 20 and they are still moving, getting the ball inside forward 50 and are 18th for converting, then he's under enormous pressure because he hasn't changed anything. And your point is well made about Simon Goodwin. You can change it. You've got to be bold and be prepared to make change. And he has, and it's fallen into place. Now, whether or not fundamentally they've got enough players to be able to play modern footy, well, that it might be problematic, and that might be an issue that Graham Wright has to address, in a bigger way as this season unfolds. But it's all on Carlton now. Do something.
The other element when I watch them is everything is hard for them, and what the French Open's just started. Every now and then they just need to blow an opponent off the court, but they get into these long 5-setters with everyone, other than the wild cards of West Coast and North Melbourne, which you really have to push those aside, and they'll be able to pad their numbers there again. But that's not it. When they did turn in 2023, they went on a scoring spree. They looked destitute. They struggled against Essendon, and then they went on a scoring spree, and it opened them up and invigorated, it returned them to their natural state. I've always thought they traded away too much of their offence, their excitement, in search of a more dependable defence. They weren't going to win it just being popcorn, but I reckon they tipped their balance out, and they've never really been able to find that balance again. Now would be a good time.
Yeah, and we're going to move on. I think Sam Walsh epitomises all of that. Sam Walsh was a free-spirited, hard-running star of this competition who we thought, wow, he's going to take them to the promised land. And now he looks to be a bit burdened to me, a bit weighed down and burdened, and it's all a bit hard, as you say.